Good morning. I'm with UM's Office of Civic and Community Engagement. We provide academic resources to community-based organizations to help meet locally identified needs. A lot of our work has been around creating new data-driven tools to better understand and respond to Miami's housing crisis. Miami consistently ranks as one of the least affordable metropolitan areas in the country. Over a third of renter households in the Miami metro area are spending over half of their income on housing costs. One of the ways we are engaging this problem is with our Housing Solutions Lab. The lab hosts various resources and tools related to Miami's housing issues. One of the tools on the lab is the Housing Policy Timeline. The timeline tracks major milestones in housing policy and finance and their impacts on Miami's neighborhoods. It starts just before the New Deal and it ends in the present day. And the timeline provides users with the historical context of Miami's policy ecosystem. Here, for example, is one of the earliest examples of workforce housing in Miami. During the Florida land boom, employees of the Miami National Bank formed a corporation and acquired this property in present-day Little Havana to provide employees of the bank affordable rents. The building is still up on 12th Avenue. Our signature platform is the Miami Affordability Project, or MAP. MAP helps planners, decision makers, and community groups visualize neighborhood-level housing dynamics across South Florida. It contains over 200 data filters, including housing, demographic, and poverty information. Here, for instance, is the geography of renter cost burden in Miami at the tract level. Areas in red have a high concentration of strained renter households. And users could easily overlay this need data with the distribution of affordable multifamily rental housing, which is represented here by these various dots. We have both assisted and public housing. And this map shows that there are various areas with significant rental needs, but no affordable rental housing in them. Users can select individual tracts or housing developments to get a comprehensive drill down for that specific community or development. So you can generate a data map based on any of the criteria listed here. So you could easily spatialize the distribution of vacancies, overcrowding, or vehicle use, and overlay it with the supply of subsidized multifamily rental housing. One of the major insights that can be gleaned from using MAP is where there are affordable housing properties with upcoming subsidy expirations. Tax credit and Section 8 properties can convert their units to market rate after their affordability restriction period ends. Miami has roughly 2,000 units of affordable housing at risk of expiring over the next 3 years. Many of these properties are in really hot submarkets like Little Havana and Miami Beach. Residents in these developments are particularly at risk of being displaced. And we've also added county commission districts and municipal boundaries to assist advocates, developers, and decision makers with preservation efforts. As you can see here, this particular commission district has a number of these at-risk properties in them. Parcel Layer provides users with an overview of land use at the submarket level. We have parcel level data for Overtown, Little Haiti, Little Havana, South Dade, and Miami Gardens, and we're now in the process of adding Alapata. So from here, we're going to filter by particular types of land use. Here, for instance, is all the vacant properties within the Liberty City submarket. We could also filter to see how many of these vacant properties are owned by a local authority. So these are all local government-owned vacant properties in this neighborhood. We could also map out limited liability company-owned land to visualize previously unknown patterns of investment. So all the properties highlighted here are owned by an LLC. We could also filter by structure type. So here are all the single-family homes owned by an LLC in Liberty City. This data indicates that this section of Miami is seeing heavy investment in single-family homes and duplexes, which suggests that potential homeowners in this neighborhood are also competing with investors. These parcels are all interactive, so you can select it and get a drill down for that particular property to get essential data like folio number, lot size, and owner information. During the course of this research, we found a number of very memorable LLC names like Pirates and Princesses LLC, Knock Knock Investments LLC, Big Money Rentals LLC, and my personal favorite, World Domination LLC. Here's Big Money Rentals. Here's the drill down. Here's LLC-owned single-family homes and duplexes in Little Haiti, and you can see there's a broad swaths of investment across the neighborhood. The tool even includes a distribution of historic structures across the city of Miami. We have identified various properties that could be eligible for local historic designation, and properties that are currently not designated but are at risk of redevelopment. So this tool is currently being used by the county to determine how the county is spending federal housing resources. The states use it to audit the county. We've had affordable housing developers use it to identify development opportunities. Here's Muhammad Ali's house in Liberty City. It's currently not designated. Here's the Miami Housing Toolkit. It features 6 housing solutions tailored to fit the complexities of the Miami market. These local policy solutions range from expedited permitting to community land trusts. One of the main solution areas is the preservation of naturally occurring affordable housing. These are typically smaller properties that tend to have more affordable rents because they're older and distressed. Each entry of the toolkit includes some background information and data points centered on a specific area. This chart, for instance, shows significant decreases in the number of naturally occurring affordable housing units between 2000 and 2015 across Miami's individual communities. Here we have some best practices, including flexible financing program that's currently focused on rehabbing small multifamily buildings in Chicago. Then we list out several strategies, including existing zoning overlays at the city of Miami and county funds that could be used to effectively rehab and observe NOAA units to create more quality affordable housing. Each entry in the toolkit includes specific neighborhoods where these strategies would have the most impact. We're currently working on a new tool that maps out concentrations of private and publicly owned land near transit, which is going to be released hopefully in January. I'm going to be showing a little more about this in a few minutes. I was asked to talk a little bit about opportunity zones. So we've done some preliminary mapping of these zones. As you can see, broad swaths of the city of Miami, Miami Gardens, and South Dade are certified opportunity zones. And these zones run from County Line Road in North Dade all the way down to Homestead. Here's Miami's transit system on top of these opportunity zones, and you can see there's significant overlap. South Miami, Arlington Heights, and Allapattah stations are in designated zones. So opportunity funds could accelerate new development along these lines to increase density and grow ridership. Here I've added the proposed smart plan expansions in purple. The planned northern and northeastern lines run through various certified tracks. So the other thing to consider when we're thinking about opportunity zones is ongoing projects, plans, and priorities that could potentially tap into this source. So here we have Liberty City Rising in the east. It's a $300 million public housing redevelopment project. In yellow, we also have the Northwest 18th Avenue corridor, where the county just spent $1 million in home funds for single-family rehab. And over the next 3 years, plans on spending significant infrastructure dollars to upgrade water and sewer, sidewalks, so this area can sustain multifamily development. In the north, we have Point Siena Park, and a community-led effort to build an intermodal logistics center on county-owned brownfields. All those county-owned properties are shaded in gray. The properties in pink could be used for industrial development as they already have passed environmental review and are connected to water and sewer. Altogether, we have over 800,000 square feet of county-owned property with varying levels of remediation needs here. So to give you a sense of scale, you could fit the Great Pyramid of Giza on these lots and still have 300,000 square feet left over.
Who wants to build a pyramid of Giza?
We'll look more into that. So you can access all of our free tools at miami.edu/affordable housing. And then I'm going to transition to our new land tool that we're working on. So again, this has not been launched yet, but we're going to give you a sneak peek of what we've been working on. This tool was sponsored by City Community Development, and it maps out the distribution of vacant properties owned by Miami's various municipalities. This platform will help developers, planners, and land trusts to identify development opportunities near transit corridors. So we'll begin by deactivating all the layers to go through each one separately. So users can toggle various transit overlays through the legend. Here we're going to add the Metro Rail line. In yellow, we have the existing Tri-Rail line. And in red, the proposed smart plan expansions, as well as the station locations for both the current and proposed lines to best identify location-efficient areas. On the left, we have 3 property layers: governmental, institutional, and surplus. governmental layer includes vacant or underused land owned by Miami's various municipalities. So Miami's governance structure, as you know, is extremely fragmented. We have over 30 municipalities in the county, and this layer is organized by the total number of lots owned by each owner. So from here, you could layer and filter by municipality. We'll start with the county. Everything highlighted here is a vacant or underused lot owned by Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County is actually the second largest landowner in Miami-Dade. These lots are all interactive, so you can select it to get a drill down to the left. With the folio number, the department that owns it, the DORA code.
How do we access this tool?
It hasn't been released yet.
This particular part has to be released. Some of the other parts of the tool.
Absolutely. So you could follow up with me after, and I could give you more information about our potential launch in January. So you could overlap this information with other properties owned by the other localities. So we're going to add the city of Miami to see if this changes the landscape here. You can see there's very instances of city of Miami owned land next to county owned land. And then we built this calculator function to model out potential land assemblages. It gives you the total assessed lot size. So if you're just looking at the county lot, it's 6,000 square feet, but if you add this county lot, it goes up to 30,000 square feet. The same thing across the street. We have city of Miami owned land next to various county owned lots. These can be aggregated to build affordable housing and commercial space. We also have property information for all the lots in Miami-Dade County to get full use out of this calculator function. So you have individual owners here. We have a direct feed with the county appraiser, so this is going to update every 2 weeks. We also have a filter focused completely on surplus properties. So these are properties owned by the county that none of the county agencies no longer need and can be conveyed to a for-profit or nonprofit. These properties are going to be shown in blue. So this program wasn't really utilized by developers because a lot of these surplus properties are irregularly shaped, they're spread out, but using this we can now overlap it with all their municipally owned land to see if there's any concentrations. So in this area we have a number of surplus properties next to county owned vacant properties. This is potential here for some land assemblages. Again, the blue is surplus, and we have right next to it a county owned vacant lot. That's not surplus. Similar breakdowns here. The institutional tab lists all the large anchor institutions in Miami-Dade County to see what vacant properties they're sitting on. Includes Florida Power and Light, Miami-Dade College, University of Miami. What we found is, in aggregate, the largest institutional landowner is actually religious organizations in total. So there's a lot of church-owned land. They're acting like de facto land banks in various neighborhoods in Miami, and you could use this to filter to see where those concentrations are. So in blue we have church-owned land. We can model to see what that aggregation could look like. We also have a search function, so you can search by particular owners. We could see how many properties are owned by school board, for instance. and get a result. Here we go. And we have vacant school board-owned land. To close out, we also added various administrative boundaries like county and city commission districts. So the first step to getting the surplus properties, for instance, would be meeting with the county commissioner in that district, and this will help you do that. So here we have county commission districts. We'll zoom out. And we have city commission districts as well. Once again, to highlight, there is county-owned vacant properties or underused parking structures. Those are shaded in gray. But the properties that are currently available, that can be acquired, are listed in blue. The county program is called the Surplus Property Program. It's buried in their website. What we've done is spatialize that on top of all the other assets owned by all the municipalities in Miami to see where those concentrations are. So this gives you a really good sense of the potential opportunity landscape in Miami-Dade. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
We're going to open it up. I can see there's some questions. I can see there's a lot of interest in this. Let me ask just again an overview of what is available now and when
Sure.
you think this will be available, because you went over a lot of stuff and what is layered on there now and kind of a little bit about your future plans when things are going to get launched, because there's a lot of layers. And I want you all to be thinking about this from the perspective of, look, we have IMAP, we have RPR, we have all these tools. This is another tool for you to use when you're looking at areas to better understand an area. So let's take a couple of questions.
What's the website address again, please?
Glad you asked. It's miami.edu/affordable housing. And if you input that there now, it's going to take you right to our webpage and all the tools that we currently have available.
I haven't seen that.
So if you go to that link, you're going to find the timeline, the Miami Affordability Project, the Toolkit, a tool we built focused on community health outcomes. And then in January, we're going to have a link to this new land use tool that I just gave you a sneak peek about. So miami.edu/affordable housing. Of course.
Good. Any other questions? Are we good? There's one right here.
Have you guys done any studies on Amendment 2 and its impact on affordable housing? The reason I ask is because there were so many LLCs
Yeah.
in some of these areas that it's scary to think of. Did you guys do any?
We have not. That's an excellent question. We do a lot of work with the county on their long-term housing plans. So they've hired us out as technical consultants on Liberty Square redevelopment project, on their surtax program, but we haven't done anything at the state level or Amendment 2.
I should also mention, we're going to have a question here. I should also mention, there are other tools on this page when you go there. There's ones that, I forget what you call it. You can give it to me, but it's like there's health, the health initiative. But it's interesting, if you're looking at areas, it talks about what programs, what community health project. So there's just other tools we want you to be aware. We'll make sure and get you the link on and how to use it. But one of the things about coming to this conference is a lot of people don't know about this. So we wanted you to be aware of it and have somebody kind of show you. So if you start integrating this in your business and when you're working with developers, you're working with investors, you're just on better understand a neighborhood, this is a really important tool, the CRAs and the different levels. Our president has a question, and then I think we're going to wrap this up.
Just a simple one. The GIS tool coming out, does it have overlay for environmental contamination as well? So if you're looking at surplus?
Such a good question. We're looking into that for 2.0. So we're going to add opportunity zones, Broward County, and water and sewer, as well as environmental review.
That's why he's our president, because he asks good questions. Mm-hmm. So are there any final questions? We had some good questions. We have.
I'm sorry?
What is this?
The Community Health Project. So it was sponsored by the Health Foundation of South Florida. and it maps out health impacts in Miami Gardens, Little Havana. So you can see the distribution of health clinics, of transit-oriented development along the existing metro rail lines, as well as the proposed expansions.
That's it. Oh, wait, John has a question.
Yes, sir.
Will this be an open source program in any way with governmental agencies like the DOT, the Miami-Dade Transit, Tri-Rail, Tri-County Transit, or how do you work with those groups?
You can repeat the question, but he's asking how you work with other government agencies and the Department of Transportation, et cetera.
So most of our work has been around affordable housing community development. We have a really close working relationship with Miami-Dade County's Department of Public Housing Community Development. We do a lot of work with the city of Miami, but we haven't extended that far along transportation planning. But I think that's the next step. Of course. Thank you so much.